Okay, here we are. Got my radio guys going, got my video guys going. We got everything going here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Yes, the 3rd of June. Trash Talkin' Tuesday is here. My name is Paul Kalemir. This is your city, your voice coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Down on Queen Street, by Queen Street on Chrysler Avenue in Niagara Falls, in the studios of 4680Q Radio. And there's all kinds of people wandering around in this beautiful weather, right? But man, I woke up this morning. Did you see that sun? Look to the east. There's just a big red ball. And I saw some pictures of it on YouTube and all that. And I said, come on, can't be that red. Come on. But it was. It was friggin' red. And I guess it's from all the smoke from the fires that are floating around northern Ontario, and the dust coming in from Saudi Arabia. We got a two banger here. None of that bodes good for anybody with allergies, because dust and fire, along with pollen and everything, is killing me. Oh, my eyes run. Just run stream. You can take all the Allerest and all the other crap, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's the big dust, the big pollen, pollinating meadows. That's what they want. $40,000. The city's going to build a pollinating meadow. Well, we got one big pollinating meadow right across the street of the meteor crater. And I was very disappointed yesterday by the meteor crater. I'll tell you that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But finally, this weather's getting there. We're supposed to go maybe even up to 80 today or some crazy thing, which is beautiful. That's what we want, of course. We're a month late for that kind of stuff. It's been a terrible May, and the beginning of June was nothing to write home about neither. But hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. We can't ask for more. I watched the tree out front, and plants know what they're doing. And this thing dropped thousands and thousands of those whirligigs, those things from maple trees. What do they call them? They probably call them seeds, but we were kids. We called them whirligigs because when they come off the tree, they flip around like a helicopter. But anyway, there's thousands of them. They're all over the place. Thank God I have gutter guards, right? I have to get up there and do that too. And that usually means that it's going to be a dry, hot summer. So when it's going to be a wet summer, they don't drop as many because more of them will germinate anyway because it's not as dry out. When it's going to be a hot, dry summer, they drop thousands of them like I'm seeing now. So a lot of them will just wither up and die. Some will get planted, will actually take to seed. So that's why they do it. Trees know more than we do. Right, Gary Wilkins? I'm not a good weatherman, but I've seen this tree do this before. So lots to talk about today, other than the weather and trees dropping whirligigs. But I've seen it. And we're going to have a hot summer here. Don't worry, it's coming. Just get ready. Fill up that pool. Get it all ready to go because you're going to need it. Okay, and maybe I could break out the shorts because of the summer, but there's lots to talk about today. We got all kinds of crap we're going to be talking about. Some city council, some outer space, some inner space. But first, let me introduce you to my sponsors because they sponsor the show. We thank them very much. We thank you for tuning in, and we ask you to support our sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. These guys sponsor the show. These businesses support the city and everything we do. So we got to give them credit. Now, we're looking outside. The weather's starting to get warm. Guess what's going to go on next in your car? Your air conditioning. Guess what isn't going to work on the hottest part of the summer? Hottest day of the summer, guess what's not going to work? That's right, your air conditioner. So what do you have to do? You have to take it to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive, and you got to get it checked over. The spring tune-up special, spring special. He looks at everything in your car. Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's. He'll throw it on the computer. He'll make sure that all systems are go for the summer so you have a happy summer, not breaking down on the side of the road when you're headed to Collingwood or some special place that you go, Wasaga Beach, Grand Bend over. It doesn't matter. If you're going there, you don't want to break down on the way. And that's why you have to be proactive and give Ken Hunter a call and get your car checked over once and for all. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, wildbillsauto.ca, that's their website. Make an appointment, get your car in, let them check out your systems, make sure your car's safe for the summer. You don't want to be breaking down. Be proactive. It just makes sense. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And we thank you for supporting our sponsors because, like I say, they support the show and everything we do. Okay, Rick Rose dedication. We can't forget to keep telling people about it. This Saturday, in front of Taps Brew House on Queen, they are going to be dedicating part of Queen Street from Buckley to St. Lawrence Avenue. They're going to be dedicating it. Let me get this door, because we do have people wandering around in here the odd time. They're going to be dedicating part of Queen Street to Rick Rose, of course, who owned 4680Q before Pat Porter bought it from the family. And also, he owns the National Institute of Music and Arts. He owns Rosewood Printing. His family still owns it. But he was a local legend in the music industry. He helped everybody, a local musician. He played all over. He was a writer, producer, you name it. Rick Rose helped everybody in the city when it came to music. Most of the sound systems you saw when you went to Springlicious or anything like that downtown was Rick Rose. He was great. And so they're going to honor him by doing the street. Now, 4680Q is building an event around that rather than his family and a few friends standing around looking at them dedicate the sign. We're going to start over at 4 in the afternoon, and we're going to have live bands. Dealer's Choice, Chico Sanchez and Dylan Mars. Evan Rotella and Dave Rave. Rob Reproves is going to be playing. Vivian Ray is going to be playing. Valerie Borghese is coming back from LA to play. We have, who else? Naoma. They're going to have 5 students doing songs with John Kruchke helping them out. And did I forget anybody? I probably did. I always forget somebody. But it's going to be a fun day. Let me put it that way. It's going to be a fun day. Evan Rotella and Dave Rave, I said them already. It's going to be a fun day for everybody. Get out there. Come on down around 3 o'clock, 3:30. We're going to be setting up ready to go at 4. We're going to have music. Then we're going to have the dedication ceremony. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have a custom guitar we're giving away. We're having a Epiphone Les Paul we're giving away. And we got gift certificates, all kinds of stuff we're going to be giving away all day through the day. So come on down, 4680Q sponsoring it, and we'll see you there. Say hello. I've never met you. Please say hello to me. If you listen to the show and I don't know who you are, I've never met you in person. That's Saturday, this Saturday, June 7th at 4 o'clock. We're going to start the festivities at Taps Brew House. I anticipate that the Soup Kitchen on St. Lawrence Avenue, they will be there running a 50-50 draw, and I believe they're going to have a food barrel. So if you have any non-perishables that you'd like to donate to the Soup Kitchen, just bring them and drop them in the barrel. I'm going to get a bag for them for sure. Okay, so let's go back to yesterday. Let's do a little rewind here. And, I was all excited. I came into the studio all excited, going crazy. Looked out at the meteor crater. There's trucks parked wall to wall all over the place. It looked like a boring machine. There's all kinds of stuff there. And I'm going, oh, this is fantastic. They're actually starting to do something with this eyesore across the street. And you know what? My dreams were shattered. My dreams were shattered because Gary Wilkins came to the studio after the show. And I said, look it. They're going to start work on the meteor crater. He goes, oh, no. They're shooting a movie on Queen Street. That's all the trucks for the movie. I go, come on. Are you serious? He says, yeah. I said, oh, jeez. I was hoping they were going to finally do something with that junk over there. Nah. False alarm, you guys. I got all excited with you for nothing. So I said to Gary, well, let's take a walk on Green Street, see what they're up to, these guys. So we walked up there, and they had the front of the Highlight restaurant all blocked off. So you couldn't see it. It was curtained off. And they were shooting scenes inside the Highlight restaurant. And I says, well, what movie is it for? And it's going to be called, or it is called, The Greatest. And it's a movie about Muhammad Ali. So they were using the Highlight as a diner, an old style diner from back in the day. So it makes sense. And of course, there was a lot of actresses and actors coming out dressed in period costumes from when he was born. I don't know when he was born, Muhammad Ali, probably I would say in the 30s. He's probably 18 in the 50s, so maybe 30s or early 40s anyway. So period costumes and shooting it in there. And the lady I was talking to said that they are going to be airing it next year on Amazon Prime. So I'll have to watch that, see if I can spot the Highlight restaurant in it. So much for the Meteor Crater. It's going to be the weed-infested allergy center. That's what City Council calls a $40,000 pollinating meadow they're building. It's going to be like that for the next while, at least. I did see surveyors over there 2 or 3 weeks ago, though, so something's happening, and I was hoping that was it. Not to be, not to be. I was all excited. Telling Dave and Pat Porter, Dave from No BS, Nothing But Sports Show. They did their show in here on yesterday morning. Telling them all about the Meteor Crater, and it's going to be developed. Look at the trucks out there, equipment. Nah, it wasn't. I was wrong. Should have known better. No viewer comments on my video yesterday yet. But I did have a comment from yesterday's show from Counselor Lori Lococo. What? Counselor Lori Lococo. Why is that such a tongue twister? It shouldn't be. I say it enough times. Counselor Lori Lococo. And I had a comment from her about a little bit more about planning. I was talking about a plethora of people at the council meeting. They're there because they didn't like the building that was being built on Stanley Avenue just past the Stafford Halfway. And councilors really were listening to the people there complaining or just protesting that it's going to be built there and this and that and everything. And councilors, they didn't want to, I don't think, most of them, but they had to go against the people's wishes, whether they liked it or not, regardless of their feelings on the issue. So Counselor Lococo said, just listening to today's show regarding planning items, they are changed from the province. They are allowing more density, less parking is required. Let's see. The character of the neighborhood doesn't matter anymore, and they're more lenient on setbacks. The province wants more homes built faster and has changed these guidelines, and that is why our planners approve developments. Applications that are being approved now may not have been approved 5 or even 10 years ago. And yeah, thanks for the great explanation, Laurie. And that's exactly right. This 23 build more homes faster has really changed the dynamics of planning and approvals. And it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is, if the design elements meet provincial, regional, and municipal criteria, the planners will approve it. That's all there is to it. They approve it. There's no choice. They have to approve it. And unless they've made an egregious error, in other words, they've made something so bad in the way of a judgment or failed to adhere to some planning matters, a trip to OLT by the citizens will fail. So I've explained this before, but the process is City Council gets this development. The planners look at it and they say, does it fit within the criteria for good planning, for good building? And the criteria is not set by them. It's set by province, region, and then any standards that we have in the city. So if the planners see that it meets every requirement, they have to approve it. They can't say no, because if they say no to the developer, it's going to go back to the OLT, Ontario Land Tribunal, and they're going to plead their case. And they're going to get a planner who'll get in there and say, well, city council planners are wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. This meets all the criteria. There's no reason for them to say no. Now, city planners say yes. So if the city council says no because the citizens don't want it, well, not wanting something isn't good enough. If it meets all the criteria, it gets built. So if council says no, we won't approve it, then the owner of the developer will say, okay, I'm going to OLT. When he gets there, he's going to say it meets all the requirements. City council planners approved it. City council didn't because they felt pressure from residents who didn't like it. Not liking it is not an excuse. It has nothing to do with anything. That's an emotional thing. The reality is it meets all the criteria. City council planners, the planners for the city approved it. City council said no. The OLT upholds it and says, build, go ahead and build. And then it costs taxpayers $100,000. Because first of all, you got to go to send your lawyer and that to the OLT to plead city council's case. But there's nothing to plead because the tribunal is going to say, well, your planners approved it. And that's the end. That's basically it. Now, the other thing they can do is find a planner who will go along with city council and say, it's a bad development because of this, that. But how are you going to find a planner that's going to say that when our planners have said it's okay? It meets everything. A planner is going to go in and do the same thing. You're going to pay him $10,000 to go in and look at it and say, hey, I've got nothing that I can say here because it meets with everything. And so you're probably not going to get a planner. And these guys are going to go there and say, well, the residents don't like it. And they're going to say, well, too bad. So city council has to go along with their planners. And before the OMB, the Ontario Municipal Board, they were a little bit less strict. You may be able to get away with some stuff there. When you went there, usually you might lose, but you would get concessions. But nowadays, because the province wants to build homes faster, they don't want these delays. They don't want you going to the OLT. They want the planners to say, yes, it meets all the specifications, and they want city council to approve it, which is what happened. So although people are mad, they don't like the decision. Really, council is against the wall on this one. They have to say yes. They have to approve it. That's all there is to it. There's no fooling around. And so that's it. And when Councillor Only 8 said, then why am I here? That's a question I always ask, by the way. But outside of my question of why are you there, she has a point, because if these matters are going to be decided by the planners and city council can't turn them down if they don't like it or the residents don't like it, then really, why have a vote on it? If it meets all planning requirements, go. But the good thing is this developer has talked to the residents, and they've tried to reconcile all the problems that they have with it, with setbacks and how they're going to build the building on the lot so it doesn't intrude on neighbors and that kind of thing. They've been very good about it, and they said they'll continue to do that. So that's that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be approved. And thanks for that explanation, Lori. I understand you guys are between a rock and a hard place, and you have no choice but to say yes to it. And it makes sense, because these guys might not like it, but you don't want to get the taxpayers on the hook for a large amount of money because somebody don't like it. That's the bottom line. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, residents. I went through it. Back in the 90s with the same kind of thing with the OMB, and did the presentation with the OMB, and we lost. We got concessions we wanted, though. So we were happy that we got a partial win, but that's the best you're really going to do when planners say yes. Okay, so that's you. Thanks, Lori. We appreciate your input into that one. Thank you for watching my show. I appreciate that. Thank you. Maybe more counselors should get with it. So, my two buddies, Mike Cushman and Gary Wilkins, took a stroll through Niagara's Love Canal that we call the Cyanamid property yesterday with some muckety mucks from the region city hall. And they were trying to show them the problem areas because although they're building on this land still has problems. They built 100 units, and it's right behind the Gale Center. And the remediation that is needed for a commercial building like the Gale Center and residential is different. But yet these properties abut each other. So whatever's happening here will get through the soil and that into here. So that's a huge problem. In the Gale Center, they were a little bit looser with the regulations there, remediation, because of course it's not residents. Nobody's living there. They go there for an hour and play hockey and leave. But there's 100 homes next door, which that property had to be remediated way more than the Gale Center. But because they adjoin, that stuff's going to leach through. It moves. There's cyanide and everything in there. So Mike Cushman and Gary Wilkins went there to discuss the problems with them, and they tried to show them that, listen, even though you say you cleaned it up, it's not cleaned up, and showed them where this was buried and that was buried because Gary was there. He knows where it is. So they had a really good meeting, and we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. Gary Wilkins is going to come in tomorrow, and he's going to talk a little bit about what they did yesterday and that kind of thing. And then I'm going to get Mike Cushman in on Friday, and he's going to talk a little bit more about it. And he has all documents and maps and stuff like that we're going to talk about, and exactly their perception of the event, of what they thought these people were thinking that were out there from the city and the region, where they think it's going to go from here. It's interesting because, of course, they're going to say, well, we tested all this and it's okay in that. But they also said that about Love Canal. It's never a problem until it becomes a problem. And I think this is a story worth telling, and letting people know, especially the ones who are moving in there, what they could be in for. Because Love Canal was clean, it was fine. Then all of a sudden there was a winter with a lot of snow and a lot of rain in the spring, and this stuff came bubbling up out of the ground, and the rest is Love Canal history. So, there's that element. There's that element there that you have to watch out for. So we'll see what they say. We'll see what they say when they come in. But from everything I know, and even the media creator across the street took $2 million to remediate that. And Mike and Gary were the proponents that pushed because they said it was contaminated. And then the city found out it was after they tore the old market out there. Everything else started digging. So we'll talk about that. And there's also other stuff going on there because of stuff that they're doing right now. So we'll get into that tomorrow. I can't wait for them to come in and tell their story. Of course, Gary's involved highly in what's going on in the city as far as city council and everything else goes. And we'll be talking about other things with Gary, get his opinion on a couple things that are going down in the city. Okay, my other compadre, John Ringo Beam, he laid some information on me yesterday regarding what they were going to do with the $22 million. Remember I said yesterday that they got $22 million at the end of last year, the end of 2024, from the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband, which Niagara Falls Holding Company has held. And we own, because we owned it all. We're the taxpayers. We're the guys who own it. So they gave us $22 million out of there, and we want to know, number one, where the $22 million go, and number two, where's the $23 million more? Because I figure $45 million came out of that sale, somewhere around there. I haven't been corrected yet, so I have to say I'm right. So somebody corrects me, I have to think my math is pretty close. May not be bang on $45 million. But I think it's close to that, and it might be more. I don't know. Just from what I've heard, and from what I've seen from Niagara and Lake, who was 25% owner of Niagara Regional Broadband, they're the numbers that I came up with. So John Ringo Beam, my buddy here, says that, what do you say here? Let's see. So the city laid out a few fazools, maybe a few million, maybe more, for the property on the corner of Stanley Avenue and Kitchener Street. It used to be the old casino shuttle parking, if you remember. So they bought that from, I think, DeCenzo. And it's a parking lot now, but they bought that from DeCenzo. I'm thinking it was 2 or 3 million or something. Anyway, they bought it. Now, what John is saying is that the property on the other side of Kitchener Street, where La Pena's and Company used to be, right? Because La Pena's moving out to Blackburn Parkway. They were at City Council saying that. Um, Jimmy said future property purchases, or the squirrel said it, one or the other. Either Jimmy or Tiffany Clark, the squirrel, I call her, because she squirrels money away like a squirrel. One or the other mentioned it, but either way, he claims they're going to buy the old Gerber's property off the DeCienzos for more than they paid for the casino lot, maybe $10 million or so. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. John comes up with these things, and he has a really good batting percentages when he comes up with this, right? I don't know his sources. I don't know who he talks to, but he does come up with a lot of these that come to fruition. They're right. So we're going to keep our eyes open on that, John. But they're supposed to be buying that whole thing. Now, seeing as how they're going to own the hospital, they own the hospital, and that's going to be gone in 2028 when the new hospital opens. They're going to own a big piece of property. They're going to own that whole corner where the casino parking was, then cross the street, and they're going to own right from Stanley Avenue to Portage Road, Kitchener, the south side of Kitchener, to North Street, the north side of North Street. So that's a huge chunk of property. And the only thing that separates Gerber's from the hospital property is a hydro right of way, hydro corridor. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they're going to do with all that land if they do buy that old Gerber land, which John says they're going to buy. Now, this thing that John's saying, though, although he's just saying it, like I say, I don't know his source. It makes sense if you think about it, because they bought the other corner. La Pena's moving. It would make perfect sense to buy that, unless DeSantis was going to get an itch, going to develop it into something. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has heard this. If you have, let me know. Let me know. But yeah, it kind of makes sense to me that they would buy that. Right now, there's 10 houses on Kitchener Street. So if they wanted to buy Kitchener, if they wanted all of Kitchener Street, all they got to do is buy 10 houses, expropriate 10 houses, and they'll loan up to the medical center. Then they'll own basically from the 420 to North Street from Stanley to Portage. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that and if it does come true, what he's saying. So that's the inside scoop. And John also says that the city's going to guarantee the construction loan for university housing projects. And there's a couple of university projects that are in the go here, on the go here. One is the housing that's going on the property where the King Eddie Hotel used to be down at the bottom of Queen Street. I think it's Zimmerman and Queen Street, where the city park is city parking now. City employees park there, I believe. Now there's going to be a unit going up there, 10 or 20 stories or something, and it's supposed to be for student housing. Now John thinks they're going to guarantee the construction loan to build this thing. Now, we also know there's property over by the bus terminal that the city owns, and that's allegedly for the University of Niagara Falls campus, which they're using the building on Queen Street now. What the hell is that called? Hatch Building. And so they're using that for now, but they're supposed to get out of there and build their own campus. And then we have the meteor crater across the street, which they've already said they're going to go in cahoots with a real estate developer or something. The city's going to put some money in and develop this property. So John may not be far off with his uh, his thoughts here. It's all taxpayer money. All taxpayer money, though. So whatever they do, we're a part of. But that's the inside scoop. Stay tuned. A lot of what Johnny says comes true, and we'll keep track of these two projects as we go forward. And I'm sure John will let me know what's going on. Over to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. You know, I love my pizza. And when I do get a pizza, I get it from Pete's Pizza because they're consistent, consistently good. They use the Mancini family recipe for the sauce, and they use it for the crust. They take Saputo mozzarella and blend it with brick cheese for the cheese, and they know how to put it on the pizza in the correct ratios. That's what's important about a pizza. You don't want overload on either one. Then they cook it up. They put fresh ingredients on it. You can't beat it. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, but they just don't have pizza. They have chicken wings. They have steak subs. They have steak and cheese poutine. They have panzerotti. They have a full menu. If you don't like pizza for some reason, they even have Hawaiian pizzas. They have it all. Doesn't matter. You're going to love something they have. And they got a full menu, so you can't go wrong. Open till 2 in the morning, Friday and Saturday for your convenience to midnight during the week. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. You can't go wrong. You got to order from them. You know you want a pizza. 905-374-2222. If you want to give them a call, you can go to their website, petespizzavictoria.ca, order off their website, or use Dine and Dish and Skip and Dish and everything else. They use them all there. They'll get it to you. They'll deliver it to you hot and fresh. Pete's Pizza Victoria Avenue. Support our sponsors. They support the show. Don't forget, subscribe to the show. If you're watching the show and you haven't subscribed, subscribe. You get notifications when I drop the show on YouTube. It's also on Rumble. It's also on X now. You get notifications. You help my algorithm so we get the show out there to more people. I'm shooting for 2026 election in October. We want a lot of people involved so we can talk about the election and get people aware and get them involved in it. So get your friends to sign up. Share the show. Let your friends in on it. Let them take a look at it. Share the show. It's fantastic. They'll love it. And even if they leave comments, I love comments. Leave comments. That's the best. Okay. One thing at the city council meeting last week made me laugh. That was when they were talking about the MAT. Now, the municipal accommodation tax that we get from the hotels. Now, everybody was yelling and screaming because now the system is by a star system. 5-star hotels pay $7 a night per room that's rented. And then it goes down to 4-star, 3-star, 2-star. If you're not rated, you pay $5 a night per room. It used to be $2 flat for everybody. Now it's rated. And next year it's going to 4%. Whatever you take in on your room rentals, you pay 4%. So the big wig from the casino comes running up, Richard Taylor, and he was pushing because he says, "Listen, we comp a lot of our rooms. The high rollers come in and we comp them. It's part of our promotions and that kind of thing. So I don't think we should have to pay the MAT on rooms that aren't rented, that we're not getting money for. The reason the MAT is there is to help for tourists to support city initiatives like marketing and that kind of thing for the tourist industry and everything else. That's why it was put on there. So it's not fair if we're comping the rooms and we're not getting any money from the people that stay there. Now you're charging us instead of the tourists." Okay. And he made some valid points. I mean, you got to admit the casino does employ 4,000 people or whatever. They give a lot to United Way. They sponsor a lot of stuff in the city. They put a lot of people to work, just not at the casino, but other businesses, local businesses. They do a lot for the city. So we have to consider that too. Not to mention they bring a lot of people to the city that spend money in other places too, other businesses. But my thing is that if they're going to a percentage next year, at the end of the day, they got to say, well, how much, how many rooms we sold and how much we got for them, a percentage of what they receive. Well, if they receive nothing for the room, they're not going to have to pay anything. So they're arguing a point here, unless there's something else to the 4%. I don't see the contract or how they're going to do it, unless they're saying whether you rent a room or not, but that wouldn't be fair, or whether you rent a room or comp it. That wouldn't be fair neither. So I think that they're all arguing over something that maybe next year will be rectified by the flat 4% fee. I don't know. 4% for your take. 4% of your take for that day, month, year, however they're going to charge it. I don't know. But I think that'll solve the problem. It's going to 5% in 2027. So I think that'll solve it right there. They're arguing over 6 months of this rating system, which will change anyway next year. So there's this big brouhaha about it, and I'm just sitting there laughing, going, "Why isn't anybody saying, listen, that's only for this year. Next year, it's 4% of what you take. Your take. So if you rent so many rooms for the month, and you took in this much money from them, then you're going to pay 4%." Now, the casino's not fooling around, though. They didn't like it when they were told they have to pay the MAT. And they said they'll lawyer up. Well, they already got lawyers on retainer, probably, but they're going to lawyer up and fight this. So, yeah, it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. So they voted, I think, they don't have to pay. They got their way, I think, that they're not going to be charged the mat for comp rooms. I think that's all came out at the end of the vote. Is that how it worked out? I don't think it is. Let's see. No, they're not going to be comped for mat. They're not going to be charged mat on comp rooms. That's what the decision was by council. Chris Dabrowski chimed in saying he didn't want to charge the mat on comp rooms. And, when Chris Dabrowski talks about anything down that area, I kind of wince, because at the end of the day, he runs his store down there. Everything they do down there helps him out with Comic Con and all the other stuff he runs. So, it's hard for him to talk against them, really, because the casino's also, in cahoots with all this. So when he talks about anything to do down there, I don't listen. And Councilor Strange said it doesn't matter. Casinos around the world comp rooms, they all do, and they still pay the mat. So he's going with that. Now, there's some arguments made about, Niagara Falls being a 6 or 7 month tourist season, and then the rest of the year is slow and that kind of thing. But either way, for now, there'll be no MAT charged on comp rooms. And why nobody mentioned the percentage that's going to work out next year, I don't know. I don't know about that. Did they miss it, or am I just not aware of what the contract says? And even if they're comp, they're still going to have to pay. They're going to have to include them at a going rate in the totals. I'm not sure, but nobody mentioned it, and that's a weird thing. But they are not going to be paying the MAT on comp rooms for this year anyway. And yeah, and I was talking about the pollen and all that already, right? In this thing, it's terrible out there. We're just getting into the season. This is just the start of it. We haven't even really got into the ragweed and all that comes later in the summer. As long as the smoke and everything's hanging around, it's not that great. Somebody cutting the lawn sets me off. My eyes just start running and everything else. And then when I have to cut the lawn, forget about it. But those forest fires, if you look outside today, they say you can see the haze of smoke. And I remember a couple of years ago, it was so bad that I could hardly see the building in Niagara Falls, New York. And it's like not even a mile from here. I could see it. It's a little bit foggy today. A little bit foggy, probably from the smoke. But there was days that one summer there with the smoke that I couldn't even see it. Okay, so here's another good one. Doug Ford and all the MPPs are getting a 35% pay increase. Did they thank you? Because you're paying for it. They didn't even give you a kiss. Yep, 35% pay increase. Isn't that nice? Oh, and a new pension plan, too. Boy, nice work if you can get it. The Cheeto Bandito is in for a nice windfall, going from 116,550 per year to a cool 157,250 per year, with cabinet ministers making a slick 223,909 per year. That is a substantial increase. How would you like your boss to come up and say to you, well, you know what? You haven't got a raise for a while here. We're going to give you a $51,000 a year raise. Yeah, because you deserve it. Because you deserve it. Wow. All I can say is wow. And they're telling the posties they can't give them anything. Oh, we can't give you anything. Government can't give you. Government's broke. Ontario's broke. The finance minister for Ontario, whatever his name is, says the move was necessary to attract quality candidates to run for office. Are you kidding me? Have you seen who runs for office lately? And that's a joke. That's got to be a joke, right? He's joking. See, pulling our leg. He's got to be pulling our leg. He goes on to say that MPPs are people too. Oh, yeah? I never knew that. Yeah, they're people too, you know. They have to pay groceries. They have to pay rent, spend time away from their families. Aw, how sad is that? I feel for you. I feel for you. Don't run for office if you can't take it. How sad is that? Imagine seniors. They have to do the same thing as these guys for $157,000 a year on $20,000 a year. And those minimum wage workers, they have to do it on $35,000 a year. I guess they aren't people. They don't have to pay for groceries or rent. They don't spend time away from their families having to work two jobs and huge overtime to survive. And seniors, forget about it. They don't have rent or groceries. They can't afford those luxuries on their $20,000 fixed incomes. So you're crying about these guys are people too. Get out of here. Where's my? I should be wearing another shirt. I got my faith shirt on. Hope have faith, people, but I should be wearing the Buffon Rulo shirt because that's what I'd like to say to them. Oh, they're people too. Crimea River. Most of the MPs aren't worth 116,000. Never mind 157,000. Liberal MPP John Fraser said the increase would help attract the best and brightest to come to Queen's Park. What a bunch of baloney! It's baloney. That's what we're eating, bologna sandwiches because of these guys. If buying the best and oh no, actually, we can't afford bologna sandwiches anymore. If buying the best and brightest actually work, why not raise the salaries to $500,000 a year? What the hell? Yeah, we're gonna get the real brightest and best and brightest. You know, this is so much baloney. I can't take it. I can't take it. They're just full of BS. People are hurting in Ontario. Could get worse with the elbows up approach to the tariffs. The province is in serious debt. Almost $500 billion we're in debt, this province. $500 billion. And like Chris Regan said, the government is asking all taxpayers to tighten their belts when they should be the ones tightening their belts. They should be the one. No raise this year. Can't afford it. You don't like it? Don't run again. But what do? Hammer the taxpayers harder every chance they get from the province, the region, the municipality. It never ends. It never ends. Do they really think giving themselves a 35% pay raise and augmenting their pensions on the taxpayer dime is something taxpayers will take with a smile while they're struggling to pay the bills? These people really make me sick, and us taxpayers take it on the chin every time. It never ends. I can't believe it. Why not 10% raise? A 10% raise this year, a 10% raise next year. That's way more than most people are getting. God, I think the post office guys wanted 19% or something. They looked at them like they had two heads. That's a piker raise compared to 35%. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. This is insane. This is insane. What is that? 45,000, 41,000 or something? $45,000 raise. Insanity. How do we put up with it? I don't know why we put up with it, but they do it. How do they vote themselves? They have no morals. How do they vote themselves these kind of raises? It's unbelievable. That's what we're faced with. That's what we're faced with. Now I want to get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. And machine companies, machine shops are so important to industry in the Niagara area. They've been around since 1948, doing the good deeds for these industries. Industry moves to a place, and the first thing they want to know is where's the best machine shops? Because when something breaks down, time is money. They don't have time to wait to ship in a part. They take whatever's broke, they take it to a machine shop and say, "Can you repair this?" Well, the place they go is Hamel Machine Company. And either they can't repair it, they'll re-engineer a new one, reverse engineer a brand new part, right? They don't fool around. They'll re-engineer a new part, and they'll get these guys up and running in days. They won't have to wait for weeks for parts coming in from somewhere else. That's the way Hamel Machine Shop does it, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And they have 3D printers. They have water jet cutters. They can do anything, fabricate anything. And most of the time, when they do fabricate a new part for a machine for these big industries, they look at it and they see if there's a way they can make it better. They can make the machine work more efficiently. And that's why they ship their products all over the world. These innovative products they come up with to deal with problems industry has. Unbelievable. We think of them as a local little machine shop, but they're much more than that. You have to go to their website, hamelmachine.ca, to see the work they do for the wineries and rich products in the city and other projects that they're involved with. Unbelievable. It really is an eye opener. But guess what? They haven't forgot about you and me neither. If we need something done, if we need something fixed, repaired, re-engineered, 3D printed, or fabricated, they can do it for you. So if you need that back gate across your backyard and you don't want to put up terrible looking wood, go talk to them. They'll fabricate you a new one out of metal, weld it all up, get it powder coated for you. And if you're nice, they'll probably be down there helping you install it. Hamel Machine Company. Support our sponsors because they support the show. We thank them for supporting the show. We appreciate you for watching the show and receiving this message about them. Let's keep it going here. Let's keep it going. Trump, the king of all trollers. Every day, Trump is the guy that makes the news. He's the leading story on the news. He knows how to deal with the news and he trolls them like crazy. He knows how to get the left wing lunatics going and does it every chance he gets. Now, he shared what everyone is calling a conspiracy theory now. And he says that he shared what they said. Former President Biden was executed in 2020 and replaced by a robotic clone. Now that's what he posted on what's it called, Truth Social or whatever he's got. Is this Truth Social? I think it's called. And everybody's freaking out. There's a million videos on it. It shows the left is going totally nuts about it, and he makes the news number one again. And they never fall for this, and they call him a conspiracy theorist and everything else. And of course, Trump, I swear to God, he just sits back, he posts this, and then he says, watch this, JD, watch what happens now. And these guys go crazy. But you know what? A lot of these conspiracy theories and things like that Trump talks about, 9 times out of 10, A lot of them are true. He said Russia, Russia, Russia. That was Hillary Clinton and whoever the hell else was there, Milley and all these other people. There was no Russia, 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 and he was right. There wasn't. They're going to jail for it eventually. These people. But when he calls something, they call something, he says a conspiracy theory. A lot of times it comes true. And he told us this about Joe Biden, that he's not all there. He's not fit to be president and everything else. And what happens? Now we're getting the truth out. Trump was right all along. And anybody who was awake was right all along. You could see that Joe Biden was failing, that he wasn't all there. You could see it. You could see it. But they didn't want to acknowledge it. And as a matter of fact, they didn't just not acknowledge it, they lied about it. They out lied till 2 weeks before in that debate. They were still saying Joe is as sharp as a tack. He's leading everything. He's doing everything. Now we're finding out he couldn't even talk. We're finding out that they used AutoPen for most of his stuff because he couldn't sign. We saw him fall up the stairs on Air Force One. We saw him fall off stage, fall off his bicycle, stumble, mumble, bumble, wander off into the woods. We've seen it all, but yet they said he's fine, which was a lie. So I don't know if he got executed in 2020 or not. But could that be a stand-in or a double? Hey, have you seen these masks? They got masks now that you can't tell the difference. And if you look at pictures of Biden from even four years ago to compared to the pictures now, something's happened here. Something definitely has happened. Now, whether they executed him and it's a clone or robotic or whatever, I don't know about that. But I can just see Trump sitting back and laughing about this one. Watch this. Watch what they're going to do now. And they all come out and do exactly what he thinks they're going to do. But he's the ultimate troller. He's the ultimate troller. He gets everybody going. Every day he says something, and every day the left gets on him about it as he makes it. And, the left goes are saying, well, his popularity's down, this is down, that's down. He can't handle the economy, his numbers are down. But I saw some polls today from CNN and other places. And guess what? His popularity is actually either the same or up a bit. And that's through all this stuff about the stock market dropping and the recession and tariffs and this and that. And the United States has done all these stories. People still want him to do it. 80 million people voted for him. People still have confidence in him and the economy, right? He's got it under control. So I don't care what these left-wing lunatics say. The bottom line is they do have them under control. He's got them under control. He's got them under control. He's got the economy and the country under control. This is a revolution like we've never seen before. MAGA. It's a movement. It's unlike anything we've seen. And you know what? The Republican Party is being rebuilt into the MAGA Party. And he's done it all. He's done it all. The king of trollers. Donald Trump is the king of trollers. And he's got them going again. And just wait for today or tomorrow. Every day he's doing news conferences and everything. And he's got them going. Yep. So, not a problem. So what's this guy doing up front here? Did he hit the car or what? He came out and looked at the back of the car to see if he hit it. I don't know what he's doing. This is action outside the window here. And people say, oh, you look like a weeble. You're looking all over the place when you're talking. It's because there's action here. Look at, there's a guy across the street right now, and he's cutting the meteor crater weeds. He's there cutting a lawn with a weed eater, though. Why don't you use the lawnmower, the guy? I never heard of this, using a weed eater to cut the lawn. Where's the lawnmower? So do you have any lawnmowers? Don't tell me we have to chip in for that, too. Capital budget. Oh, my God, these people, these guys drive me nuts. Okay, but at least they're cutting it. They're cutting the meteor crater. They're trimming it up around the hydrants and the boxes and everything. These boxes here haven't been spray painted yet, but I'm sure they're up by the vandals that do that. Now, has anybody out there been following this Voyager 1 story? Because this is as interesting as old heck. Now, that's a satellite that was launched in 1977 and was sent out into space with a whack of stuff about Earth embedded in a golden disc that told the story of Earth, where we are, how to get here, and everything else. Well, it's now in interstellar space, beyond the sun's heliosphere, and after a long period of silence, has awakened. Back in 2020, all hope was lost for V-1, Voyager 1. There'd been no contact with it, and then in 2021, a command sent was received, and V-1 out of nowhere responded. Now, this satellite is a relic from another age. You got to remember, back then there was no internet, no smartphones, basic technology. Probably not a lot better than they use with the space shuttles and that. I mean, your phone probably had more power than that was available to V1, Voyager 1. But then this year, something happened. Something nobody can explain or even understand. The dormant spacecraft suddenly shifted its orientation, which it doesn't do unless commanded to, without receiving a command to do so. Weird. The ancient memory systems that they thought were corrupt and failing somehow repaired themselves. All of a sudden, there came a signal, not random static, but a structured, evolving pattern. Like something out there in interstellar space noticed this thing, and through the systems of V1 was now reaching back to scientists on Earth, saying, "Hey, we're here." Not in English or anything like that, but in replies, saying, "We hear you." But something out there added coding that wasn't part of the original Voyager 1 software. And Voyager should not have been capable of doing this. And the signals to Earth grow stronger and clearer all the time. So there is something out there. We don't know what it is, but we do have proof something is out there and something has happened to this Voyager 1 that is now allowing it to reorient itself. And it's facing the sun's heliosphere, I think. Facing the sun of streaming particles coming out of the sun. It's facing that corridor, which it wasn't before. And it's doing it on its own. I mean, if you remember back, Dr. Stephen Hawking, he said, "Hey, listen, we really don't want to be sending these satellites out there with information as to where we are on Earth. That's the last thing we want to do is tell anybody out there, some form of life out there, probably more intelligent, that we're here, and give them a map to find us." Nothing good ever came from that kind of thing. You know, like you watch the movies. Yeah, they're going to come all the way here. They're coming here for something, either food or water or something, depending on what they need. They're going to be coming here. So it's going to be interesting what comes out of this. Keep an eye on this. I'm watching this like a hawk. I want to know what's going on and how this thing all of a sudden came alive and it's sending us signals. Is something happening? Is something imminent? It's crazy to think about. If you remember the Trek movie where they found Voyager 1 and it wanted to meet its creator, it was going to kill them all. Yeah. Yeah. So wild stuff. Wild stuff, this Voyager 1. It's been out there a long time, 50 years. And now it's starting to come alive and do stuff. Come on. That's crazy stuff. That's crazy. And I'm not trolling you. That's a true story. Look it up. That's actually happening. Anyway, that's that for today. Tomorrow is Habsolutely, and we're going to be talking, of course, all Habs, all show, and what's going on with the Lavelle rocket and everything else, all the stuff going on with the Habs. Season's over, but the action isn't. There's still lots going on. Thursday, I'm going to bring Gary Wilkins in to talk about his walk through the old Cyanamid property with the Muckety Mucks from the region and the city, see what they had to say, see what his take on what they're going to do with it or if they're going to do anything at all, see how he feels about it. And we'll talk about the city and other things as well with Gary. And then I'm going to have Mike Cushman in on Friday, and he's going to give us his perception of the Cyanamid property, of other properties that are polluted, how they're intertwining here, how how the city's dealing with them, what the health risks are, if they're remediated enough or not, what he thought of the city people when he was talking to them, how he thinks they're going to deal with this, and how they're going to move forward with it. Now, this is very important to anybody out there because we're all here in Niagara Falls. This stuff is seeping into the water systems and it's getting into the gorge. It's all out there. That's laced with cyanide and everything. So we definitely have to keep our eye on this, and we want to make sure that when city council decides on planning issues in that area there, whether it's digging up the road to make the extension of Victoria Avenue or digging up the old Milek rinks to build on, which they're doing, they're developing that, and they've already developed 100 units right behind the Gale Center in the old where the old YMCA used to be. We have to make sure that we're on the city about that because there's a lot of bad chemicals in that ground. And we saw what happened with Love Canal. Once bitten, twice shy. We got to be on it. And Mike and Gary are the two guys who have been doing this for a long time, trying to get city council to understand the ramifications of building on these properties and what's there and what's needed to be done to clean it up, no matter what the limits are. Like I say, nothing's ever a problem until it's a problem. We're going to find out more about that in the next shows. See you Thursday with Your City, Your Voice, and Friday with Your City, Your Voice. Tomorrow is absolutely all Habs, all shows. See you then. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the weather. God bless you all. Have faith. Have faith. Support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamel Machine Company. They support the show. They also gave, as a sponsor, the Rick Rose event this Saturday. All three of them chipped in to sponsor that show. They're good people. Support them. They support the city. They support the show. We want to get them to support that. If you know anybody who wants that to market their business on the show, let me know. I'm looking for one more advertiser. You want to market your business on the show? Let me know. You know somebody? Let me know. I'll do the same thing for them and talk about their business every day at noon on 4680Q Radio. Thank you so much for listening in today. We'll see you tomorrow. If you're a Habs fan, if not, we'll see you on Straight Talk Thursday at noon. Take care. Ciao.